Hey, what's up you guys, my name is Brooke and welcome back to my channel, and today's video is going to be a different kind of video, and today's video is going to be me kind of talking a little bit about and having some footage from an bookish event that I went to a couple weeks ago. So a couple of weeks ago I went to a event that was sponsored by my college's libraries, and it was Riordan'S book tour for the third book in the Magnus Chase series. And while I haven't read the Magnus Chase series, I am reading the Percy Jackson series, which I love, and I couldn't pass up an opportunity to go see Rick Riordan. So I went, and I'm going to include some footage from that. I'm going to talk about it a little bit. It's going to be kind of cool. So we get there, they're handing out free t-shirts. I got a free t-shirt, free pens, which I have, hold on. They were handing out these free rune pens. So I'm going to put that in my book bag. So I got free t-shirts, free pens. They were selling signed copies of his books, and I can't pass that up. So I got the second book in the Trials of Apollo series. I haven't started the Trials of Apollo, planning on it. I have the first book of the Trials of Apollo series signed. I got through Barnes & Noble through like their Black Friday signing thing last year. I was like, of course, let's just go ahead and get the second Trials of Apollo book signed as well. And I also got Sea of Monsters paperback signed because that's my favorite book in the Percy Jackson series, so I wanted to get that one signed as well. We go to the event, and they have this guy come out dressed up as Magnus Chase, running up and down the aisles of this place, and like, I guess he's acting like Magnus Chase. I haven't read the series, so like I don't know, but I'll put some of that footage right now. And it was super funny. I thought it was hilarious. It was very clever, very creative. There was lots of like middle schoolers and their parents, which I thought was awesome. And like I could really relate to these kids because they were getting so excited and like were so into everything that was going on, and I loved it because that was me in middle school, and like everybody else was, you know, doing their thing, and I'm just like, books, 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 like all about my like newest series, and that's what these kids were like, and it was totally awesome. And I could really relate to them on like a spiritual level because I was them a couple years ago. So that was really fun. And after the whole like guy pretending to be Magnus Chase, Rick Riordan came out. And he started, you know, talking about the book, talking about the series, you know, no spoilers, but like just kind of talking about it a little bit. He also talked about some other stuff he has going on. There's going to be a coloring book, Percy Jackson coloring book, I think, some other things with his other series, and he talks about the thing that he's starting where he's like sponsoring these other authors that are writing about other mythical gods and like helping them get published.
Always get questions. The fans always want to know, Rick, are you ever going to write about Chinese mythology? Rick, are you ever going to write about Hindu mythology? Rick, how about Nigerian mythology? How about Brazilian? How about Native American? There are so many cool myths out there, right? The thing is, I'm not an expert in all of them. And I didn't grow up with a lot of these myths, so I don't know them the way somebody who grew up with them would know them. So I started thinking about that, and I started thinking, you know, surely there are people already out there who do know these myths and are great writers. Wouldn't it be better than me trying to do something I don't really get that much, to find somebody else who does know? Our goal is to do 4 books a year. These are not things that I wrote. These are not things that I told the other authors how to write. It's totally their own thing. The only thing I look for is, do I think this is a book that if you like my books, you would probably like this one too? It's got great characters, it's got lots of action, fantasy, mythology, humor, it's got all that good stuff. So that's the idea behind that, and I'm really pleased that the first book in the series is going to be Arusha and the End of Time. It's coming out March 27, 2018, and this is a modernization, kind of Percy Jackson-esque, except with Hindu mythology.
So like the first one is like about I think it's about Egyptian gods. I don't know, but she was there, so I got to hear a little bit from her and a little bit about her story. I really want to read it. Of course, a lot of this is all middle grade, which I'm totally fine. I don't discriminate. So I'm totally down to read it. I recorded most of Riordan'S talk, which will be the next thing footage-wise that you see.
Gosh, I don't know. I think it would be really cool to hang out with Magnus. I don't know that I'd want to die to do it, but it'd be fun. We could totally go out and have falafel together. By the way, I'm really excited. A falafel shop opened in the exact spot that I said there was a falafel shop in Boston. I definitely need to keep writing these things. All right, next question. How do you keep getting fresh ideas? Oh, I'm so glad you think they're fresh. Thank you. You know, I keep going to new places, and every time I go on a trip, it ends up in one of the books. Like my family and I went to Norway last year, and that ended up in the newest book. So you'll see kind of our adventures through Magnus's eyes. And mythology just keeps going. I found that the more I dig, the more there is. I'm still learning stuff about Greek mythology, even after all these years. Next question, what is your favorite part of being an author? Finishing the books. What is the hardest part? Not finishing the books. No, deadlines are tough. I would love to tell you if you want to write, I would love to say it gets easier as you write more books. It doesn't. I have now written 30 novels, and it does not get easier. You do sort of learn more about yourself as a writer, and you do learn kind of what works and what doesn't work for you personally. So in that way, I guess it's a little easier. But writing is hard. It really is. The revision is not my favorite part, but it's 90% of what I do, revising. I know, you probably hate revising as much as I do, right? It's cool. But it's just part of the deal. No one has ever written a perfect first draft. I haven't, and nobody has. But my favorite part really is coming out and getting to meet you guys and talking to you guys. I love that. It is so nice to be here. Yeah, well, the rest of the time they keep me chained at my desk, They're like, all right, you can come up for a little while. You say hello. Hello. If you weren't a teacher or an author, what would you be? I mean, I got to be honest, those are my two dream jobs. I love teaching. I really did. And I love being an author. So I feel so lucky that I got to do both of those things. Otherwise, I don't know, I'd probably be a student. I'd go back to college and get a PhD in something. Because I just really like learning. It's just kind of fun. Especially when I get to choose what I learn. What is your favorite childhood book? I was a reluctant reader. I kind of grew up on comic books. The Thor and DC comic books, Batman, Superman, Fantastic Four for Marvel, all of that. My uncles collected all of them, so I inherited them, and they were all awesome. A little bit later on, I really liked E.B. White, Charlotte's Web, and The Trumpet of the Swan, and then later on still, the thing that really turned me into a reader was The Lord of the Rings. Yeah! Oh, what would your superpower be? Man, I don't know. I always thought it'd be cool just to turn invisible. I really like that, like, bye. But I think I'd probably get in trouble with that one. Invulnerability would also be a good one. Yeah, I remember one Superman comic book where they took away all his powers except invulnerability. So he couldn't fly, but he just sort of stepped off the buildings and fell. Because he couldn't be hurt, so it was no big deal. What advice would you give to future authors? Well, if you want the long, detailed version, I have a bunch of advice on my website, which is my author site, riordan.com. Whole big section on advice for authors. But really, it boils down to three things. You got to read a lot, because I figure you guys probably already do that. That's where you're going to get your sense of what a good story feels like to you. What works for you? What do you like in a book? What do you not like in a book? It's kind of fuel for your engine. Read a whole bunch. Second thing, write a lot. Writing is like a sport. If you don't practice, you don't get better. So talking about writing, that doesn't do anything. You got to actually sit in a chair and write, even when you're staring at a blank screen. I know it seems like astounding, but it's true. There's nothing else that'll do it. And the more you write, the more you'll find out about yourself as a writer. I said earlier, finishing books doesn't get easier. That's true, but the only way to learn how to write is to practice doing it. And the third thing is don't give up. My first novel that I sent out way back in 1995, I sent it to 14 publishers. The first 13 said no. If I'd given up after 2 or 5 or 10, I wouldn't be standing up here. So believe in yourself. Don't give up. That applies to anything, not just writing. All right, next question. When he is at camp, how does Dionysus claim his children? That's from Holly. Well, I don't know, Holly. I have a feeling that he probably waits as long as possible. I just sort of like, oh, dear. And then maybe he just sort of, pops a soda in their face, like, you. Next question. What is Grover Underwood doing right now? I'm glad you asked. I actually know exactly what Grover Underwood is doing because he figures very prominently in the third Apollo book, The Trials of Apollo Burning Maze. He is all over the place in that book. In fact, you'll see him again right at the end of the second book. He pops up. So you get a little hint. He's going to be very important. The Burning Maze, the characters you're going to see, aside from Apollo, of course, and Meg, his sidekick / master / taskmaster, whatever you want to call it, are Piper McLean. We'll be back. You will see Jason Grace again. And Grover Underwood, all of them are in there. And you're going to see a little bit of Leo Valdez again. In book 3, and then there'll be a whole nother set of characters that you haven't seen in a while in book 4 and book 5, so stay tuned. Okay, Ashley says, what do you have to say to your college-age fans who have been with you since the beginning? Thank you. I know, it really is such an honor, especially with the college-age readers who have stayed with the books, even though they're middle grade, right? And I do consider the books middle grade because that's my own background. I was a middle school teacher. I feel like that's kind of my target. That's what I know the best. But that doesn't mean that you have to stop reading them when you get out of 8th grade. If they still work for you, if you still enjoy them, fantastic. I had a lady come to a signing a couple of years ago, and she was in her probably 80s, and she came up, I had a big stack of books, and she set them down in front of me, and I said, oh, thank you for coming, are these for your grandkids? She said, big grand, no, they're for me. Fantastic, you can be a young adult reader at any age you want to, so that's awesome. But at the same time, I don't anticipate writing the books any older. You're not going to see any YA, quote unquote, from me. You're not going to see any young adult books from me. I just feel like I'm going to keep the characters in that age group I know the best because that resonates the most for me. So as long as they work for you, fantastic. But if they don't, that's okay. There's a lot of great books out there. And last but not least, the most important question of all. Do you like falafel? That's from Lynn. Actually, yes, I do. I like falafel very much. It's great. Thank you guys for coming out. That was great spending time with you.
Yeah, overall, it was a super fun event. I hope you enjoy some of the footage if you're a Rick Riordan fan like I am. It was really awesome, really enlightening. I'm really excited about some of the stuff that he's got coming out in the future. It has me super psyched to finish, all of the series that he already has out so I can keep moving on to the future things that he's going to put out. I really enjoyed listening to Rick Riordan. If you ever get a chance to go to his book tour, I totally recommend you do it. It was my first ever attending an author's book tour or anything really with an author actually there, and it made me so happy. It made my heart so full to be there because I knew all these people around me were totally into the books. It was just so cool to be in a room of people that had the same bookish interests as me, so that was awesome. I just wanted to kind of share that with you, give you opportunity to see some of what happened at the book tour if you couldn't be there, which there's only 8 or 9 cities I think on the book tour, so I was lucky to be able to see it, so I'm going to include some of that footage for y'all. And yeah, that's about it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this different kind of video, and that's it. Until the next video. Bye, guys.